let's start with Craig and with Mike. Again, here we are, it's March of 2026. What has changed in cyber sales in the last year? What's harder today than it was a year ago today?
You want to go or you want me to go?
Mike, why don't you go
I can
first?
start.
You go.
Okay, so a lot has changed, and there's a lot of uncertainty out there that's really pressurizing the sales community. Like Craig said, that's all overcome by good sales leadership. So let's talk about a couple of those things. Government shutdown, big challenge, right? Continuing resolution, another big challenge. Now we're down to just a limited number of Department of Homeland Security that's going through the shutdown side. DOGE, everybody heard of DOGE, right? DOGE has been a big challenge. Shift in the public sector workforce has been a big challenge. Another one is we've seen in the last year a lot of experience decide to walk out of the government and join us on this side. It's been pretty brutal. We've seen some alignment changes in organizations like CISA. So now all of those trusted relationships and folks have kind of went on down the road, and we've had to go find new people to talk to.
It's very nice to say they just went down the road.
Very polite.
They just voluntarily kind of off-ramped a little bit. And you know, I'm going to reflect back to something that you said, and that is that good sales leaders see all of that as opportunity, and they see things like
Amen.
Yeah, like Department of War that's blistering with money right now. You know, you just have to figure out how that money flows, or the one big beautiful bill.
Big beautiful bill, the largest ever, and we're talking about, oh, there's no money, they've cut the government. They haven't cut the government. There's tons of money in the government.
Yeah, so tons of money. It's just up to good sales leadership, and I know we've got some really good questions coming here in just a few minutes. But it's you know, it's up to you to understand the follow the money piece to really get to the relationships. And I'll tell you what my guys do and gals is when there's a shutdown or there's a CR where new programs can't start, they take the opportunity to call those government reps, the government agencies, say, hey, buddy, how you doing? I know you may be furloughed or something. Is there anything I can do for you? And in one case right now with an agency that is shut down, when they turn back on, they're going to be on steroids because they've called some of their people off of furlough to work a particular program with Carahsoft that we're going to go into execution immediately when they turn back on. But the way that happened was establishing and trusted value-added relationships.
Yeah.
So this being said, with all the complexity and AI, what do prospects and customers really want from selling professionals right now? So Craig, why don't you start, and then Mike, I'm interested. Carahsoft speaks to tens of thousands of customers on a daily basis. Give us your insights on what do they want and need from the people watching today's panel discussion. Yeah, Mike, give us your thoughts. Again, Carahsoft talks to tens of thousands of prospects, probably every day, at least every week. You know, what is working along those lines with getting sales is really about getting your conversation to the next step, right? Like Craig alluded to, demo, whatever it might be. Give us some of your insights on what's going on in these walls and across the company.
Absolutely, but first, what did you say about AI? What kind?
What's that? Agentic AI.
Well, agentic AI, can we have a meeting?
Yes, we'll have a meeting.
I think this is really a simple answer to kind of follow on to what Craig said, and that is that your customers and your mission partners really want a relationship. They want to have an entrusted relationship with you. They and I'll tell you a quick story. When I first came on and started standing up this big primes team focused on the large FSIs, you know, it was about a $350 million a year business. And we had this vision that 5 years later we would be at $4 billion, and this group over here at the table has achieved that. And so one of the things that I decided to do was go out and interview about 100 strategic sourcing professionals at FSIs, CIOs, CTOs, chief engineers, to see what they wanted from us. And it was interesting. I had 10 standard questions. I'd ask them all the same questions, and I'd compare the answers. But one of them that really stuck out to me was not the question I answered, it was the question they asked me. And that was, after I give you the PO, will you still be there? Okay, and I think that's very important. And we see this across the Carahsoft ecosystem, and that's what Carahsoft does alongside our original equipment manufacturers, is that we make sure that that team is there, whether it's at a trade show, whether it's talking directly with the mission partner, or whether it's talking with the integrator, that we are there. So you've got to work very hard as a sales professional at the real relationship and not the relationship to get the purchase order.
I want to get the insights from everyone on the panel here. We'll start with Cyril, come back down this way. What is your recommendation for the audience? How do you build credibility and show customers that you know their mission and business needs better than anybody? You know, here has any competitors, obviously. Give us your insights. And write this down if you haven't been writing down.
And let me add on to what we're saying here. It's your personal brand.
100%.
Your personal brand means everything. You only have one time to set a first impression. So think about that. You got to know the customer. You know, you might not want to roll up in your Mercedes if the customer doesn't have much money. You may want to go rent a used car and drive up. But you only have one time to set a first impression. The other is that you cannot over-prepare for those engagements. That ties to the first impression. When you walk in, you have to be passionate. You have to be prepared. You know, I will never forget, some of my guys have heard me tell this story, is getting through a great technical presentation, not thinking anything about the sale, and then right before we went out the door, one of my colleagues had a bolt out of the blue, a couple of words, and said, "When do you think we can get the PO?" Okay, that was a hell of a first impression. First impressions, you cannot over-prepare. If you do those right, you'll be successful.
What's a big mistake that you see cyber reps making repeatedly, or B2B or B2G selling professionals? Let's go Mike all the way, and then we'll come back.
What's the number one thing? Say that again.
Mistake that you see reps making.
Selling. We've talked about it. Where they go in, they're focused on completely on selling. Got to focus on the mission. Got to focus on the operation. And so selling up front is the number one. Got to prep. I've used my 30 seconds.
Yep, very good.
But I could keep going.
Wrong.
I'm going to ask the next question, slightly different than we prepared. What's one habit that has helped you set yourself apart? Again, you're all top sales professionals, leaders in the industry. What's a habit that you have enabled that has helped you get to the level where you are? Start with Cyril, let's come back.
To add on, good sales reps are going to have a mindset of continuous learning. I mean, this is a fast-moving world. When I came in this, I was told that if I learned about this one box, I would be good for 20 years, and my boss was right on. You know, that was like 1978, 79. And today, the software is changing, the patches are happening all the time, and you've got to stay ahead of the learning curve there. So keep learning, keep reading.
All right, give it your final thoughts. Cyril, why don't you go with us? You start and bring it back this way. Final thought, what do you need to get across? 30 seconds or less. I might bring us home.
Final thought, there is no I in team. It takes a village. Build relationships. Maintain your technical fluency. And most of all, have fun at what you're doing. That's my final thought.